So we're here today with Mid Canterbury co-coach Bevan Ravenscroft. So firstly, Bevan, thanks for coming on to have a chat.
Cheers, Evan. Good to be a part of it, mate. Thanks.
So very strong performance from you guys last season for the most part. First innings wins over North Otago, Southland and Otago country. It was only not being able to get the job done against South Canterbury that stopped you from earning a challenge. So how do you kind of reflect on that season that's been?
Yeah. We had a really good season, to be honest. It was probably about a session and a half of being, a top season. Like you say, we had three really good first innings victories over Southland, Otago Country, and North Otago, but we sort of ended up losing first innings to the eventual winners, South Canterbury, and we were in it for 80% of that first day. And if it wasn't for a wee bit of, I feel maybe a wee bit of not closing the deal, we had them sort of 70 for 4, 70 for 5, and we only had 130 on the bank on the board, but we just sort of couldn't quite put the foot on the throat and nail it. And the rest is history, I suppose, mate. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with overall how the sort of season had gone.
And coming into the next summer, do you feel the side's kind of shaping up to do better this time around, or do you feel you're in a better place?
Yeah, I think so. This will be my third season in charge, and I think from year to year we've sort of gone up another level. We've got a hell of a lot of young players in the team that are another year older. A few college boys that probably leaving school now and hitting the big time. I think yeah, hopefully this season, we'll be able to go one place higher and get that challenge that we sort of really have been striving for the last few years.
So, what do you think does need to be done better by the players and by that leadership group to earn the challenge this time
Probably a wee bit of ownership on trainings, turning up to trainings a bit more on time, and putting in the hard yards, not just for our rep trainings and games, but also our club trainings. I know a few guys weren't sort of trying to get to trainings as much as they should be, and crucial sort of lead up games for us. And there were a few guys sort of scratchy and showed a few scratchy performances when we needed them. And hopefully with the luck this year, we can sort of get things in place, try and placate those and be a bit more polished, sort of come our Hawke Cup campaign.
And so, what does that kind of pre-season look like for you guys, or that preparation and training leading into the next season?
Well, in the next couple of weeks, we're probably just going to name our winter training squad. We'll run that for probably six weeks just before the start of club cricket locally. At this stage, I haven't heard too much about our schedule. I know our Hawke Cup campaign, well, I think we've got Southland away. I think it's the weekend before Christmas, and then the rest of our three games are in the new year. So hopefully with the luck our association can put a few warm-up games. We've really only had probably one day against South Canterbury last year as our lead-in. So, to try and get a few more, 2 days leading up to it would be ideal, because, locally we only sort of play 50 overs, whereas we need a bit more, toughness with our batting and stuff like that. So hopefully we can get a bit more of a few more pre-season games.
When you look across the squad that you've got, would you say there's any kind of particular areas that you describe as a weakness or as a hole that you're trying to find ways to fill?
Yeah, we'd love another quickie. We had probably leading into our warm-up games last year, we had two genuine quick bowlers in the squad, and unfortunately they sort of pulled out on us. So yeah, we've got a good mix of really, batting wise, bowling wise, medium paces. Just would love another quickie if there's anyone out there for us.
And then, if you guys are to go that step further and earn a challenge this season, who do you think are the key figures that will need to stand up for you to get to that point? The kind of two or three names that you think have to perform.
Yeah. There's another guy, Angus Jemmett. He had a stellar year for us. I think he ended up making the most runs in all Hawke Cup cricket last season. He he got a couple of good hundreds for us. 99, a really, really decent bat. He can spend a lot of time out the crease, and he can also hit the ball pretty hard. He really stepped up this last season, and he's only 20 years old, I think, at the moment. Another guy, Des Kruger. He's played 100 games for Mid Canterbury now. Really, really good stalwart for the team. But yeah, need a lot of runs out of him. He's been a wee bit more. He's been pretty quiet the last couple of years, and I know he's getting older, so I know he's pretty hungry for a good showing for him. And another guy that he's only 18 is actually Angus's brother, Lockie Jemmett. He's been in the team for the last couple of years. Looked really, really useful. He doesn't look out of place. He's come on as a bowler for us, whereas he's done a lot of his schooling, all his school cricket as a batsman, and bowled some really, really handy overs for us last year. When he got his chance with the bat, he put his hand up to say, I should be batting up higher. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do. And there's another guy that's he's been our glue with batting and bowling as a boy, Devon Flannery. Really like everything about him. He made the most runs for Canterbury under-19s last season in their tournament. Guy that probably, if he has this season, he should be knocking on the door for Canterbury A. Hopefully he can put his head out for us, get himself sorted, and put in the hard yards for us. And he's a guy that's got a big future. And really excited to see, particularly him, see what he can do for us this year.
Every district, but particularly the smaller districts, seem to have that one family where the players just churn out, and the Gemets definitely seem to be that for you guys.
Yeah, I remember playing when I was playing. Dale, Garth, and Lyle were all very heavily associated with Mid Canterbury about 10, 15 years ago, and real competitive. And like I say, with Angus and Lockie, they're really good boys, but like their uncles and father. And yeah, really, really good.
And leadership, you mentioned Des Kruger before, and obviously he's a pretty totemic figure for you guys, like you said, with 100 games now under his belt. And then you've got that co-coaching model with Jason Morrison as well. So how does that kind of work between the three of you looking after the leadership of the team?
Yeah, it worked really well last year. I asked Jason to give me a bit of a hand last season, and he was all too keen to help. Me and Jason are pretty good mates on and off the field, and it's sort of something we've aspired to do for a long, long time. And we worked pretty well. Jason's really, really good with a few drills and all that sort of stuff, whereas I was a wee bit more, not so much more lazy, but I'd rather talk to the players and try and get their feel about it and go from there. And then with Des captaining also, it was it was good to get three heads on the same page. We all knew what we wanted to achieve, what we wanted to put out to the players, and I think last year worked good, and hopefully this season we can build on from that.
So when you talk about wanting to talk to the players and understand that side of it, does that mean you're kind of that, I guess, kind of culture coach, or someone that really finds that side of it important and kind of working players through their mental space?
Yeah, I think so. I'm I was, like I say, I was never a big trainer myself. I was pretty keen just to go out there and do it. But I like talking to the players beforehand to try and instill a bit of courage and a bit of thought on how they should be doing things. Try and get around a few of the young guys to see how they feel in bits and pieces, because like turning up to, like I say, we've got 2 or 3 college boys, and you're turning up to play Hawke Cup cricket with a bunch of men. It can be pretty daunting sometimes. So hopefully we can sort of integrate them into it and make them feel a lot more comfortable about things. And that's sort of how it works for last year, and hopefully with the luck this year it goes a wee bit better.
And then one of the challenges that you have is only having one senior club team from Mid Canterbury. So how do you make the most of that? And then how does that kind of play out with selections? Because I've noticed one thing for your side is that you'll name an 11 rather than a 12. Is that because you don't tend to take the extra player with you, or what's the kind of, how does that all work out?
Yeah, well, that's been probably our biggest headache for a long time. Sort of club cricket in Ashburton has sort of dwindled a fair bit. You know, from 5 years ago, we only had sort of four teams to it got cut down to three teams, and then all of a sudden it got cut down to one team. Trying to pick a Hawke Cup team out of one team is pretty. Well, it's extremely hard. You know, you've got like any club team round, you've got five or six really handy players, and you're trying to get a few sort of the old battlers. We've sort of done pretty well trying to draw on some college guys to play. You know, there's been some very handy, three or four really handy Ashburton College boys that have come through the ranks and shown what they can do. And also, we've got a lot of guys locally that sort of live in the region. They travel up to play their club cricket up in Christchurch, which also makes it a bit tougher for our trainings during the week. You know, they obviously they want to be going up there to show what they can do, but it also makes it hard for when we have our trainings. They're either there or they've got to pick either play for us or go up to Christchurch. So it's a really hard balancing act. We had a squad of about 20 players last year, and it got dwindled down pretty low by the end of it. But yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to go away, particularly if we go away to Southland, to pick 12 guys. It's sort of, I don't know, it's hard to pick a 12th man to travel 6 hours down there. We have to travel on a Friday and you have to travel home Monday, so you've got to have 2 days off work. It can be a hard act to do. And like I say, it's sort of, it's really hard to name a 12 and make a guy go down there all that way to cancel on him, if you know what I mean. But it is what it is for Mid Canterbury cricket, I suppose.
So 12th man for Mid Canterbury is Bevan Ravenscroft then.
Yeah, well, like I always said to Jason, we'd flip a coin, but but it never eventuated. He says, "Well, you're the coach; you can do it." So it didn't worry me too much. I quite like I said before, I like talking to the players and stuff, and it gave me a chance to run the drinks out and have a word to the bowlers if need to be, or something like that, or like bits and pieces like that. So I just hope like hell no one ever went down injured, which I might have happened once or twice, but I made them stay out there for a bit longer, so it was all good.
Things must have been pretty bad this season if you were having to drag yourself out of retirement.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, mate. I've always thought, it's been 6 or 7 years since I retired from Mid Canterbury, and I always thought it'd be nice to go back there one more time. Like I say, our squad was dwindling pretty well throughout the season, and came to a point that we were going to either ring up a guy that hadn't played all year, or I was going to play myself. And I thought, well, while we're at home, Des Kruger's 100th game, what better way to do it? So I got out there, had to bowl nearly 15 overs on the trot, which fair to say I wasn't too well on the Sunday or even the Monday through to Friday. So, but no, it was good to get back out there and taste it again, mate.
And going to be regular third seamer this season then.
No. I need to hit the streets, hit the curb like the team would. But no, like I say, I'm pretty happy just staying in morale at the moment, just looking after the boys and making sure they're doing it right. And like I say, they are a good bunch of fellas, and they do pretty good. A lot better than I do anyway, mate.
And then to finish on a really big question, cricket's obviously struggling for participation, struggling for numbers in Mid Canterbury. To be saying that there's only one senior club team left pretty clearly indicates that. So what do you think needs to happen for Mid Canterbury to keep a strong team and to keep a really strong cricketing presence in the region into the future?
Oh shit, that is a good question. I don't know. That's what do you do? I know locally there's a Wednesday night competition. It's like a 2020 competition. They have 8 teams in that, which is pretty good. But trying to get a team or two from that, you can't. Like they just guys don't want to give up their Saturdays or even half a Saturday playing cricket anymore around here. Um, that's just a question that I can't answer. I don't think too many people in Mid Canterbury can answer. It's a shame because back when I was 18, we had 6 senior teams, a dozen second grade teams. And we've got at Ashburton Domain, and you could see 6 or 7 fields lit up all afternoon with adult players. Now it's only the one team on a Saturday, and I know for a fact this year they're going to be struggling to just even field a team in that grade, which they play in the South Canterbury competition. So it's a tough one. I don't know what the youth are doing these days. Like, well, wouldn't you want to play cricket on a Saturday afternoon and then earn your beer after, have your beer after that, earn your beer and enjoy times with your mates. But yeah, it's a tough one, that, mate.
And for someone like yourself that played for Mid Canterbury for a long time, and you've continued your involvement, you're clearly someone that feels passionately about Mid Canterbury cricket having an identity and being a Hawke Cup association. So I imagine you're pretty driven to try and keep things alive there as much as you can.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I had a web to do with the tech team that travels down to Timaru. We sat round many a time trying to work out how do we get the school kids from leaving cricket and doing something else. We just it's yeah, I don't know. We've got to do better, I suppose. And how do we do better? We've got to do better. It's a shame, like, because we're such a proud union. We're just a battling old union. But if this one team goes under, I'd hate to know what happens to our Hawke Cup team. It's just the facts, I suppose, eh?
On a brighter note, though, it was a good season last season, and hopefully this season will be even better. So thanks for your time this evening, and all the best for the season ahead.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Appreciate it, mate. Ta.